If you've ever felt like your finances are a juggling act, this video is for you. Maybe some months you feel flush with cash and other months you're struggling to make ends meet. And really, you're not sure what you need to do to stay on top of it. What if I told you you could stay on top of your business and personal finances and have a better line of sight on what's coming with just 10 minutes a week? Well, today I'm going to be showing you my actual money management system that keeps me on top of things and keeps it stress-free. Hi everyone, my name is Jamie Trull, your favorite CPA and financial literacy coach. And on this channel, you'll find tons of resources to help you stay informed, organized, and profitable in your business finances. So please like and subscribe. Now, make sure to stick around until the end of this video because I'm going to be sharing with you some of my top tips for automating your finances to make this process even easier. So a few years ago, when I worked one-to-one with business owners, one of the things I noticed was that managing cash flow on both the business and personal side was really difficult. It was hard to have a line of sight as to what was coming, how much they could afford to pay themselves, and how much they could put into their personal savings. And that's because the nature of business or being self-employed is that we probably have some variability in terms of what we make. We probably don't have a regular paycheck that we can fully depend on. So that's why traditional budgeting methodologies don't typically work very well for small business owners. Now, when I was working with these clients, I spent a lot of time scouring the World Wide Web to find a good process, a system, a software that could help actually accurately forecast cash flow ups and downs. And I even tried several of them. And I'll be honest, they were all kind of meh. The accuracy was kind of all over the place. And honestly, it was expensive to implement. And when I Googled the cost of cash flow software, it looks like it's still expensive today. The average cost of a software, according to the AI overview, is between $199 and $14.79 per month that you're using it. So obviously that's pretty cost prohibitive for most small businesses. We're talking thousands of dollars a month for a program that may or may not actually be effective in forecasting out your cash flows. So what I quickly realized when I was looking into this is that there has to be a better way. And so I developed my own spreadsheet that I used with my customers and that I also use myself in order to track the cash flow coming into my business. And then I also made one that piggybacks off of that for my personal life, because as a business owner, it's very inextricably linked to my personal finances. In this video, I'm going to give you a peek behind the curtain and show you a full tutorial of the worksheet that I use. And if you are a spreadsheet person, you can create something really similar based on what I did. Or if you want to save time, you can go ahead and purchase mine. It costs significantly less than just 1 month of those softwares that we just talked about, and you only have to pay it one time. So if you're interested, go to jamietrull.com/cashflow to check it out. So I'm going to jump on over into that template right now. We're going to go over business first and then personal, because your business is really going to drive how much you have to work with on a personal side. And I'm going to show you exactly how I forecast my cash months into the future. And that helps me make better business decisions, budget my money better on the personal side, and know how much I can actually pay myself. So let's jump on into it. I'm going to be walking through how to use this template for both your business and your personal life. Now, you'll see in here there's several different tabs, and thankfully you don't have to use all these tabs. And in fact, I highly suggest not using them all. You'll notice that there's a daily business, a daily personal, a weekly business, a weekly personal, a monthly business, and a monthly personal tab. Now, if you're wondering how to decide which one to use, it really is based on the number of transactions, how much cash is coming in, how much cash is going out, and how likely are you to be in a situation where you might have a cash shortfall. So in this video, we're going to walk through the weekly just because I think that that's a good medium for most small business owners who want to keep track of their finances, but the daily might be a little bit of overkill and tough to keep up with. So the first thing to note when you jump in here, I would start with the business tab first. And what you're going to do is enter your starting week. So you'll notice I have January 1st of 2025 here, but you do not need to start this in January. This is looking forward. So ultimately you can start it wherever you are today. Now, when you first start using this, again, you're going to put in essentially today or the beginning of this week, and you're going to put in that beginning balance, right? What was the beginning balance maybe on the day that you were starting to use this worksheet? Let's say that's where we're starting when we look at our bank account right now. Now, all you're going to do is go down through and input what you expect to make this week in cash receipts. What cash do you expect to come in? And what payments do you expect to make? So remember, this is really about your cash balance and really tracking your cash balance in your bank account. This isn't about a profit and loss statement. This isn't about accounting or taxes. This is about cash. So that's why it's important to really align when is the cash actually going to be coming out of your bank account. So if you pretty much pay everything on credit cards, you may not have very much in the way of these types of fees. So you could get rid of all of these different categories and instead just put in the ones that you have. Everything in yellow is designed to be edited. So you can edit everything else in yellow, and you can also put in some notes here. So what I highly recommend, right? So for instance, if you are going to be paying your credit card and that credit card maybe is paid on the 20th of every month, you could write that. And then you know when you're going to fill these out that whatever week that falls into, you know, okay, well, my credit card balance, and you can estimate this out based on what you know. But you can put that in here, and then you can go out and kind of estimate based on what your typical credit card bills are. Maybe it's, $5,000 is maybe your typical credit card bill. You can go and put that as far out as you want to go. Of course, as you get farther out in time, you're making more estimates, and that's okay. The purpose of this is to estimate, but as you go farther out, you're probably going to be, doing a little bit of guessing, educated guessing at least. So I've put some numbers into this weekly worksheet just as an example to show you how you can use this. So I've put some estimates in for cash from sales. So these are your cash receipts into your business. I tend to be a little conservative, especially the farther out I get, just because I want to make sure that, even if we dip a little bit from normal, that we're still going to be okay. So you can choose how you want to do this, but ultimately you're going to probably use your past experience and what you know to be coming up to come up with estimates for your sales numbers. And then you can see down here, I've put some expenses that I have in the business, and I've also made a note next to those as to when they typically get paid out. And this will help you not forget anything important. So you can see here, I have salaries paid on the 15th and last day of the month. So if you go to each week that contains the 15th or the last day of the month, you'll see I've put those expenses. And then you're going to come down here, and after you've put in those receipts and the expenses, you're going to come down to your ending cash position. This is really what's going to tell you how you're doing and if you could potentially have a cash shortfall coming up. So we're going to go, we want to see green. Green is good. Green means we've got cash. So I went through about the end of February with the numbers that I input. So in fact, I'm looking pretty good. I'm green in every single week. However, there's one thing that I did not include yet, and that's my owner's pay. So I pay via draws from a business. If that's you as well, if you have not included your pay in the salary numbers above, then you're going to want to put your owner pay in here. So being able to look at your ending cash position will help you figure out when you can pay yourself and how much you can pay yourself. So let's say in this example, I want to pay myself, let's say, $7,000 every month. And maybe this second week is looking pretty good because we've got a pretty high ending cash position there. So we're going to add that to it. So now you can see we're still green, right? We're still looking green all the way through February, and that's good news. We're not going to put ourselves in a negative cash position for paying ourselves in January. However, you might want to come to the next month and do the same thing. So maybe if you want to pay yourself an owner's draw of $7,000 each month, you can see if that's going to cause you an issue at any point. So right now we're looking pretty good. But again, let's say you actually wanted to pay yourself $10,000 a month. Well, we might be in a situation now where we're not going to be able to do that in February, right? So that's really important to know as we look at when we can pay ourselves, what we can pay ourselves, and where we might run into shortfalls. So perhaps in this month you decide, you know what, I can't really do that. Let's go to 6,000 to be safe, right? And that will help you then when you're doing your personal side, right? Because then you can take this over to your personal side and say, okay, we've paid ourselves $10,000 for January 8th. So let's come over here and just show you how this can work. So you can enter that $10,000
Actually, I'm going to put it in the owner's draws for the 8th of January. And then you're going to come over, and when you get into this one, it was only $6,000, right? So that will help you then when you're budgeting to make sure that you're not going to run into any personal cash flow shortages because of the fact that you couldn't pay yourself the owner's draw that you wanted to. And then similarly, this can also help you determine if, let's say you want to make an inventory purchase, but you're not sure what month you want to do that or what week you want to do that, right? You can look and see, okay, let's say I made an inventory purchase of, $3,000. What would happen if I made that this week, right? This January 8th week? Well, let's look down and see. So again, we're seeing this cash shortfall if we decide to make that purchase in this week. So that can also impact when you make your inventory purchases, how much you pay yourself from your business, but you can kind of do your own scenario analysis to put these amounts in, especially the ones that you have some control over, like when and how much you pay yourself and when you make certain purchases that are outside of the norm of your business. And you can see if any of them are going to cause you a cash fall shortage. And then you can make a plan, right? That's really the point of this, is to kind of try to predict the future, at least, to a relative degree, and be able to use that to make decisions. So now I've filled out more things on the personal tab as well, so we can see how this works. So again, you're going to put your cash receipts in here. If you have paychecks in addition to owner draws, either paychecks from your business that you're paying yourself on payroll, or maybe you or your spouse has another job that's a W-2 job, you can put that in here, or any other sources of income that you might have. And again, you're going to start by putting the cash balance in of your personal bank account here. And then I went through and put in some common expenses. Again, for expenses that are paid on a credit card, you're not going to have to list the individual expense. Instead, you just put that it's the credit card payment and the amount you expect to pay and when they are due. So that's when it's actually going to hit your cash account. So you'll notice that I put in a few things here that are normal payments that people make in their personal lives. And then when we come down here, we, instead of having an owner pay line like we had on the business side of things, we have a transfer to personal savings. So if you have savings goals, amounts that you want to be transferring to your savings every single month, which I highly recommend, then you're going to want to put that down here. And you're going to be able to see if that's going to be something that creates a shortfall for you or not. So you can see so far we're doing okay. We're a little low here. That might be, depending on how much you like to keep in as a cushion, that might be a little close for comfort. So that's up for you to decide. But if we come over, we can see that in the last week of January, we actually have a shortfall. Now, one new feature that we've built in that I think is important to point out is this essentially balance adjustment that we can do. So if you're looking at this thinking, wait a second, so I have to keep up with this every single week, and what if I forget? What if I miss a week or two, right? Can I still use this? And the answer is yes. So you don't have to go back in time. Let's see, you did this for January 1, and then you literally forgot about it until January 22nd, right? We're going to come over to the business side actually to show you this. But let's say January 22nd, well, it's going to have calculated your balance as this based on the estimates that you put in. But maybe that's actually not correct at all. Maybe you made a little bit more money than what you assume. You don't necessarily have to come back and adjust all of these. You can if you want to. You can go back in time and put the actual amounts in here if you really want to. Or you can just plug the balance, as we like to say in accounting. So let's say you actually look at your account and it's really got $2,343 on January 22nd. Well, what this is going to do is it's going to plug the difference. So it's going to say, okay, there was 887 additional net change in cash that we didn't actually record because, we didn't keep up with our cash flow schedules for those weeks. And that's okay. Right? So it's going to take it so that now these numbers from January 22nd going forward are going to be correct, right? So that's essentially resetting your beginning balance. So even though the calculation thought it was this because it didn't have all the information, now you've just trued it up. And it's really, no big deal. And that means that your information going forward should be correct. So you don't have to keep up with this every single week. I do recommend it. I think it's a good practice to get into, to pick a day of the week and just spend, literally now I probably spent 5 to 10 minutes every Monday morning just updating my bank balances and looking at my cash flow and making sure that we're good. So I highly recommend just getting in the practice of that for a day of the week and, making those updates. I think think it will be a practice that is highly, highly beneficial and will keep you from those cash flow crunches and those kind of freak out moments that we all have. You know, if you feel like you aren't going to be able to cover payroll, right? You're going to have better line of sight into the future. So you'll be glad that you did this. But again, there is that fail safe. If you don't keep up with it every single month, you can just plug the balance and keep going with it. So in a nutshell, that is our deluxe cash flow forecast template. I really think this is probably the most valuable template that I use in my business. As much as I love a profit and loss, and I use that a lot too, this is so practical. This is actual cash that we want to make sure that we have in the bank account. And for me, it has given me so much more just margin and room to breathe, knowing that I'm not constantly worried about what's coming into the future, that I'm keeping a line of sight on my cash. So there you have it. That is my process for managing cash flow, both in my business and personal. This helps me so that I don't have to sit and get really detailed in terms of a budget, but I know that I am in good shape and can make really good decisions, both in my business and personal life when it comes to cash management. So if you're not a spreadsheet person or you just want to save time by grabbing mine, go to jamietrull.com/cashflow and you can get one for yourself. Now, as far as making this a practice, like I said, I would pick a day of the week and I would try to do this. Again, it can just be 5 to 10 minutes once you get in the hang of it. It's really, really quick. It's some of the best time I spend on my business and it gives me so much peace of mind. But I recognize there's a little bit of a manual nature to it. And so if you're looking for more tools to help you automate this, in addition to having something like this cash flow forecast, you can use something like Relay. So Relay is a business banking platform. Relay allows you to segregate your business money into multiple different buckets. So it's something I talk about a decent amount on this channel. If you want to see a tutorial and some of the reasons that I switched to Relay, check out this video right here. And definitely go check out the capabilities that it has for automating money that comes into your business, putting it into multiple different accounts. Maybe you're saving for taxes or something like that. I am a big fan of using these more manual methods in addition to these softwares or banking platforms that can help you also keep a handle on your money and make sure you don't run into any unexpected cash shortfalls. Now, like I said, this is probably my favorite worksheet in my business, but I also love a good profit and loss. So if you want a walkthrough of how to actually create a profit and loss statement, definitely check out this video next, and I will see y'all next time.